Let us explore beginner's tips. Meditation was never intended to be physically painful or mentally difficult. If it is that way, it's because you received bad instructions from bad teachers, and there are more bad ones than good ones. Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, including meditation teachers. So let's say if you are looking at the new year, and if you intend to make a meditation part of one of your resolutions, I would very much like to help you set yourself up for success. So let's talk about sitting strategies. So to do that, I'm going to tap button 4 and subject you to Jumbo Cam. Dun dun dun. Yes, Jumbo Cam, brace yourself. So, if you can't sit on the floor cross-legged, sit on a folding chair. I'm going to grab one right now. This is a folding chair. You can find them at Target or at any big box store. So you don't want to slouch. Slouching is not going to support a successful meditation experience. You want to sit with your feet, with your tippies flat on the floor, and you want to pretend, you want to generate a vertical traction between your tush and your head. Not looking up, not looking down, just looking straight ahead, even though your eyes might be closed, and that's fine. This can help you to meditate. Let's talk about strategies for sitting on the floor. To do that, I'm going to shift the camera angle and push the computer back a little bit, play all sorts of games. Okay, this is Azafu. We'll get to that in a minute. Yes, you can meditate on a hardwood floor or concrete, but if you can, order a yoga blanket. That would be great. They're about 14 to 20 bucks. They're made of cotton. I wish they were made of hemp. That's more earth-friendly. Let me adjust the camera yet again. There we go. So you can fold it vertically to make it resemble a yoga mat. You can fold it once horizontally and then twice horizontally so that its dimensions are approximately 16 by 24. You can then just drop it on the floor or ground, depending on whether you're inside or outside. I want to see here. 1, 2, 3. I try to put it in the same place every time just so I can have ease with my camera. So you can meditate like that. So let's talk about the mechanics of sitting, shall we? So, the Buddha never endorsed the full lotus position. He just said to sit comfortably, cross-legged, upon a cushion or upon dry leaves functioning as a cushion. And that basic instruction is found in 3 of his meditation manuals. When you look at ancient Buddhist statuary, we do not see the Buddha depicted as sitting in the full lotus position. That's pretty elitist. We see him sitting in the quarter lotus position that most anybody can master in a week, unless you've had your hips replaced. So here's how it works. The key is the the crown of our ankle here, this bone. You don't want this coming in contact with concrete or a hardwood floor or even your yoga blanket. Now, you might say, dude, I have shag carpeting. Do I need a yoga blanket? Yes, you're going to sweat, and you want to put this bad boy in the wash machine, you stinky bastard. So, the question is, how do you sit so as to protect the crown of your ankle? Simple. Instead of touching the crown of your ankle to the floor, you touch the top of your foot to the floor. How do you do that? You just twist, you just limber up your knees? No. Your knees are just hinge joints. What you want to use are your hip joints. Your hip joints are ball joints. So here's the basic lowdown. You rotate from the hip, resting the top of your foot on the surface. And then you do the same thing with the other foot. Now, the first time you do it, your hips might not cooperate. I mean, you might be like this. That's fine. Time and gravity will help your body to remember its range of motion it experienced as a child. Arthritis is a hell of a teacher, and so I sat like this for about 20 years. I developed arthritis in my hips, and then I began using a Zofu. Now, a Zofu is a bit of an investment. You can find these anywhere from $20 to $80. They're circular, and they have a zipper, and the good ones are filled with buckwheat hulls. You'll want to buy an extra bag of buckwheat hulls and a funnel, because as the buckwheat settles, you'll want to add more buckwheat to it. That's just the name of the game. So you'll place your Zofu, or your circular cushion, at the back end of your folded yoga blanket. All right. And it doesn't matter which foot goes on the bottom, because what I recommend is every 15 minutes or so, if you're meditating that long, is to just reverse the position of your legs. There are people who take pride in being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, cryptic, elitist, competitive, and cruel. They would say you have to remain motionless like a statue. But the Buddha never taught that. And those of us long-term meditators who are surviving with various health disorders know that if we don't meet our body's needs, our body's going to kick our ass, metaphorically speaking. So we got to respect our body's needs. So we've talked about sitting on a chair, sitting on the floor, sitting on a cushion. We talked about how to cross your legs. Quick review about the posture. You want to every inhalation. Well, I'm going to illustrate this. So I'm going to tap button 5 and quick like a bunny, find an illustration for you. There we go. During each inhalation, our body is wired to generate a vertical traction between our tuchus and our head. During each exhalation, our body is designed or has evolved to relax that traction, even just fractionally. That's fine. See, the key to success in meditation and everything else is maximizing our harmony with our body. The more we cooperate effectively with our body, the more easier it is for us to do something well. So that's good. We've talked about sitting. Now let's talk about timing. Or as Steve Martin once said, and comedy is not pretty, comedy is about one thing, timing. So if you're gung-ho and you feel like you're in the peak of emotional, mental, and physical health, and you want to meditate for 60 minutes at the shoot, fine, have fun. You're welcome to meditate along with me in the live streams. But if you feel that that's not really what you're ready for, that's fine. Might I recommend the countdown timer function of your iPhone. I'm pretty sure your Android has a similar function. It's the same thing you'd use when you're cooking something in the kitchen and you want an alarm to go off. So I recommend setting it first for 5 minutes the first week. That's fine. Once you are comfortable with sitting for 5 minutes once every 12 hours or so, and if after a week or two you might want to advance that to 10 minutes, and after a week or two maybe 15 minutes, and so forth. At that rate, within 12 weeks or perhaps 3 months, you could incrementally arrive at the 60-minute point, which is a marvelous goal. If you approach it gently and if you listen to your body, super important. Goal. The goal of meditation is not to stop thinking. The goal of meditation is not to concentrate. Stopping thinking or concentrating will indulge our controlling tendencies, exhaust our prefrontal cortex, and let me find a good illustration for you here. I guess I'll go all the way. Here we go. Trying not to think or trying to think on one thing will exhaust your prefrontal cortex, trigger your amygdala, which is the seat of anxiety and aggression. Nobody wants those things. And when we practice mindfulness meditation correctly, it will calm our amygdala and actually stimulate our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, the root of love. So there's tremendous motivation to meditate properly, but what does that mean? So instead of meditating from the very, very front of our brain, we meditate from a different part of our body. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to automatically access the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This sympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us to notice in a very specific way, to help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. But to notice what? To notice mind's antics of perception. Seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including all the emotions, all the intentions, all the thoughts, all the memories, all the figments of our imagination. In fact, each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we interrupt the habit of our cerebral cortex to compete against our sympathetic nervous system and create an opportunity for these two to cooperate, which is fabulous. But what do we do with all these things that we noticed? Each time, by the way, I've just described to you mindfulness, now I'm going to describe for you meditation. Each time we silently and let's try this way. Each time we exhale, we are wired to effortlessly access the parasympathetic nervous system divided between the lower third and the upper third of this same spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to support the physical relaxation and mental release of whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we interrupt the pattern of competition between our cerebral cortex and our parasympathetic nervous system and create an opportunity for these two at last to cooperate. So in meditation, we're not trying to make our sympathetic nervous system do its job. We're letting it do its job. We're not trying to make our parasympathetic nervous system do its job. We're letting it do its job. All we're doing is by coordinating the silent and mental recitation of these monosyllabic words with the two phases of our breathing, we are helping our cerebral cortex to stop fighting the other components of our central nervous system and at last to cooperate with them. The enlightenment that the Buddha offers us is nothing mystical, it's nothing magical, it's nothing elite. In fact, the Buddha said it could be accomplished in as little as a week. It's simply getting so good at the Eightfold Path that we master it, that we get so good at it that we practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. No human child has ever been born automatically knowing how to use the toilet or brush their teeth or tie their shoes or ride a bicycle. And yet, due to neuroplasticity, virtually every human child, by the time they enter first grade, can do those things so well that they perform them spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. And as adults, we can do the same thing with the Buddha's Eightfold Path. And here's the wild thing. If we just play with mindfulness and meditation using the instructions I've already given you this morning, and if we do this every 12 hours, then not only will we find ourselves automatically practicing the remainder of the Eightfold Path, but we will find ourselves mastering it. It's remarkably easy. If someone tells you it's difficult, they can't help you. If someone can't give you a rational, concrete definition of enlightenment, they can't help you. If someone is a cranky bastard, they can't help you to be peaceful and loving. If someone is neurotic, they can't help you to be peaceful. So find teachers who will work with you for free, and it can help you master the path easily. This concludes the opening lesson, and we now stand poised for group practice. It is Qui-Gon Jinn Tuesday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I could become your neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Okay, so we turn now to the very latest iteration of Easy Mantra Meditation. Now, is it possible to meditate without any recitations? Yes, but I'm not able-bodied. A few years ago, there was a movie called The Girl with All the Gifts. It was a zombie movie. Well, I'm the neurodivergent with all the comorbidities. And so the only way I can have the strength to remain awake and sitting upright is if I, like many who have come before me, work with certain recitations. Now, there's too much recitations, too little recitations. I've tried to find the sweet spot so that you won't have to. So before we begin, allow me to remind you, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. So in the contemporary practice of Dzogchen, or we the contemporary practice of Dzogchen is divided into 3/3. Anu Yoga's energy work, Mahayoga's gentle contemplations, and Ati Yoga's awareness and release. So we're going to begin with Mudra Anu Yoga's finger gesture-oriented energy work. Let us rest the tip. Oopsie, it'd be helpful if I push the right button, don't you think? Oh gosh, here we go. And there. Let us rest the tip of our left index finger upon its thumb, and then rest its hand upon its thigh. Doing so could gently invite or real or imagined subtle energies to effortlessly coalesce at the crown region of our head. Let us now begin by exercising our empathy with the following recitation together. In our compassion may we long to free all beings, choices, utterance, and deeds from the tyranny of the survival impulses of hating, craving, and clinging, metaphorically known as the three mental poisons. We're now going to train in pragmatism. In all pragmatism, may all liberation of all others be fueled by all reliance upon the Buddhas, example, instructions, and students described by the metaphor of the three wish-fulfilling jewels. The cool thing is, this works whether the Buddha is real or merely archetypical. So now we're going to take these 4 pages and coalesce them into just 8 syllables. May we free all through the 3 jewels. And if you're as neurodivergent as myself, you may really enjoy a splash of dopamine right about now. So if you wanted to, you could blend this with geriatric squat thrusts, but you don't have to. It's completely optional. Oy vey, here we go. I've had to adapt Tibetan-style Buddha bowing because of my physical challenges. Some people love this, some people are deeply offended. Through the 3 jewels. May we free all through the 3 jewels. May we free all through the 3 jewels. It's silly, but it works all the muscles of the body. One of the great, it is thought by many archaeologists that the most ancient Buddhist statuary depicted the Buddha as having long hair tied in a top knot. There are a minority of meditation teachers who emulate that example out of pure sentimentality, such as myself. Let us now chant similes to better master the impermanence and interdependence. Let's see here. Let us chant Mahayoga's similes to better master the impermanence and interdependence of the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Let's begin chanting right here. All circumstances or lots could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could lithely absorb into this body or form. All bodies or forms could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this communicational speech. All interpersonal communicational speech could be as impermanent and interdependent as if it could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this mind. All minds could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into our vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although tantalizing to the eye, could be not graspable to the hand. At last we've come to the first of 5 mindful crease counting meditations. This seems like an excellent opportunity to reveal the 3 points of Bengali crease counting. Point number 1, what we do exclusively with our right hand. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our, get this out of the way, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We come now to the second point of Bengali crease counting, what we do with our left hand. We could multiply these 12 inhalations by 8 sets for a total of 96 inhalations by counting on our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. We come to the third phase of Bengali crease counting, where we work with both hands simultaneously. Right now, let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to effortlessly and automatically coalesce at the bladder region of our lower abdomen. In preparation for mantra meditation, let us together chant an explanation of the Benzaguru mantra. I invoke teachers on action on meditation in whom view that the Benza Tantra Guru teaches. Pay my enlightenment and siddhi abilities, whom may be mastered by all. So now it's time for the first of 5 sets of mantra meditation. It's totally easy. During the inhalation, we silently and mentally recite the essential instructions of meditation and mindfulness. During our exhalation, we do two things simultaneously. We physically relax as best we can while striving to chant the 12-syllable mantra 4 times per breath for a total of 4 breaths. Now, if this is your first time hanging out with me or hanging out with me, then by all means, please give yourself permission to have a learning curve. Because giving yourself a nervous breakdown in the name of peace is a little too much like making love in the name of virginity. Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung. Got to do math for a second here. Okay, 16 times 5. 5 times 6 is 0, carry 3. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 3 is 8. So it's 80 reps per session. Here we go. Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung 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 Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung. And now it's time for a bit of the old silent meditation. Quick review. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics. This is also known as mindfulness or sati. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we are wired to physically relax and mentally release whatever we noticed during the previous inhalation. This is known as meditation or samadhi. Together, let us practice right now. And instead of doing 8 sets of 12 inhalations, we're going to do 4 sets of 12 inhalations. Excellent. Let's keep it going. Welcome to Aha. Welcome to the second of 5 mindful crease counting meditations. Let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to effortlessly and automatically coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. Om Ahum Benzogunu Memaziri Hung 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 Om Ahum Benzoguru 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 Memaziri Hung. And now let us play with mindfulness and meditation. Welcome to the third of 5 mindful crease counting meditations. Wow, look at that. Okay, here we go. Let's rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to effortlessly and automatically coalesce at the heart region of our chest. Om Ahum Benzaguru Mimasiri Hung 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 Om Ahum Benzaguru Mimasiri Hung. Now it's time for a bit of the old Ati Yoga awareness and release, or silent meditation. Remember, our job is not to push our problems away, but to make peace with their presence. Doing so, ironically, unleashes the gateways, opens the gateways of creative problem solving automatically and effortlessly. Welcome to the fourth of 5th Mindful Crease Counting Meditations. Now this is a bit tricky, so bear with me. Instead of resting one knuckle upon its corresponding fingertip, we're going to rest all 4 knuckles upon their corresponding fingertips. So it's going to look kind of like this. And of course we're reversing it. Palms up in our lap. It's kind of ungainly. Doing so could gently invite or reel or imagine subtle energies to effortlessly and automatically coalesce into the region of our throat that we feel tighten just before we cry. Om Mahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung 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 Om Mahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung. Quick review. Each time we now switch from silent mantra meditation to silent meditation. Quick review. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, fleetingly notice mind's antics, be they perceptions, emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, or imaginings. This is known as mindfulness, or sati. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation. We are wired to physically relax, during our exhalation, we're wired to physically relax and mentally release what we noticed during our previous inhalation. This is known as meditation, or samadhi. Let's practice. come to the fifth, the fifth of 5 mindful crease counting meditations. Let's rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to effortlessly and automatically coalesce at the crown region of our head. Om Ahum Minzo Guru Mima Siddhi Hung. 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 Whoops. Okay. Let's chant Mahayoga's similes to better master the loving kindness of the second through fifth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. May each mind of each being known be as peacefully enlightened as the mind of a real or imagined Buddha symbolized by a tikli one syllable seed or bija mantra. May all relationships, communication, or speech of all beings now be as joyfully loving as a real or imagined Buddha speech symbolized by a multisyllabic mantra. So these are not prayers to real or imagined celestial entities, for doing so would create more harm than good. These are simply words that we're using to exercise our own neural pathways of empathy. And what we're doing is we're using similes because we evolved to think symbolically. And we are blending these wishes and this empathy and this symbolic thinking with the four bases of mindfulness, which in this context would be the mental, the interpersonal, the physical, and the circumstantial. Let's continue. May all bodies or forms of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health represented by Buddha's statuary, depicting the blissful body of a real or imagined yidam, an archetype of enlightenment such as Kuntu Zongpo Yambyum. Let us lovingly wish that all beings be liberated from the tyranny of others. Sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia, classism, exploitation, fascism, jingoism, genocide, speciesism, and ecocide. May each circumstance or lot of each being now have the safety and good fortune or boon as a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land or vati. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 9 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.